Welcome back into another episode of Two Fat Drunks, the worst talk show on the internet. I'm JDV.
I'm War Pig.
And tonight we're going to fill a huge gap in our little talk show blabbing about series because we're going to finally get around to talking about the greatest independent film of all time, and that would be
Escape from New York.
Coming up next.
Next, you assholes.
Hey everybody, welcome on back to the show. So right off the bat, go to our homepage, Evil Genius Entertainment, where we are going to start having more exclusive content, including Two Fat Drunks versus our riff track style
X,
takes
whatever
on
we're
stuff.
looking
And
at.
I think the next one we're going to do is Lady Frankenstein. So check that out, evilgeniusentertainment.com. Okay, so
Guaranteed hit.
despite the fact that we are independent filmmakers and the fact that John Carpenter is a hero to us and the fact that we love Kurt Russell and that we love
Lee Van Cleef.
Escape from New York so much, we have never done anything on this movie.
Not directly, no. I mean, we
reference
reference
it all the
it,
time.
but don't actually talk about why, right? Why Escape from New York is just always going to be on your top 10 greatest films ever.
Yeah,
I mean, even when you talk about...
I said in the cold open, I said it was the best independent film of all time. And do you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. It's,
Why? Why is it the greatest?
It's the greatest for a number of different reasons. One, because they do so much with so little. I mean, they make you believe this movie cost $30 million and they spent
In 80s
like
money.
$20, right? I mean, I'm saying like they didn't even spend.
I think
they didn't even spend wolfing money.
3.4
right.
million, or maybe 2.4. It was
This
definitely
is
under $5
Avco
million.
Embassy. They're still on the phone with people trying to get cash for this because this wasn't that far out of Halloween. You're talking what 81,
Yeah,
and Halloween was 79. So you're only talking 2
I'm not
years
sure
out
about
of
this.
that.
I'm not sure of the timing. If you did Halloween, Fog, then Escape.
That I think exactly
think
right
that's
because that's Avco Embassy and that's 1, 2, 3, man. And
One of the things that got me specifically wanting to do this episode this week is I was watching a movie channel called, I think, just Movies.
Okay.
I think it's an MGM owned over-the-air kind of show. It's actually a really good station because they show basically uncut films all the time, and they started showing Escape from New York, of all things, on this classical movie station.
which ranks it as a
Right, I mean, it's not
Classic
considered
film.
a classic film.
right.
And the fact that the character Snake Plissken is regarded as one of the greatest action hero characters
Yeah.
of all time, and frankly, the greatest anti-hero character. I mean, we can talk about that in a second. And just one of the most famous. I mean, you want to talk about its effect on filmmakers today? I mean,
Yeah,
everybody
very Snake Plissken.
my age is absolutely affected by this film.
Yeah.
You have people who are 10 years younger in their 40s absolutely
Well,
still trying to do Escape from New York or a character as cool as Snake Plissken.
In fact, there are people that will be fans of the 90s cartoon show Billy and Mandy, where they simply have a character who is Snake Plissken. I mean, outfit and everything. He's Snake Plissken. He's just the Delgado.
Oh,
or
they
something
do it
like
on
that,
the Goldbergs. There's
Yeah.
the whole video game series is based on
Escape from New York.
No, but I mean it's a character of Snake Plissken. What is it? It's like Silver Snake. I think they actually call him.
Oh, that's right. Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid.
Solid Snake.
Yeah, it's just totally ripped off of it.
Snake
I mean, so
Plissken.
not only are there a lot of just direct rip-offs, it's just a huge influence, both because the character is so good, the movie is so strong, it is so good at establishing a world that even as the movie was coming out, I mean, it's only set 14 years in the future
Yeah,
from when it was
1997 from...
81.
Wasn't that what it was?
Was it 94, 97? But I mean, it was
Something like that.
It was set so not far in the future that it had to know that it was never going to happen. But
Right.
F it, we don't care. It's going
The
to
most
be
prime real estate in the world. We're gonna make a prison out of
it's
it.
just the production value is so
It's
insane on that
It's
film.
so good.
There's
And-
so many things that just worked right. It made Kurt Russell an adult movie star. Like, Kurt Russell has been a giant star for the last 40 years because he was in Escape from New York.
Yes.
Not because he was in the computer that wore tennis shoes.
No, you would forget his Disney career where you would just think about Escape from New York.
But when this movie came out, if you recognize the name Kurt Russell, the only reason why is because, oh yeah, I remember him because he was in all these Disney movies.
The computer that wore tennis shoes?
Right, so it was a huge risk on Carpenter's part casting Kurt Russell in this role where he's kind of like a Clint Eastwood special ops badass MFer.
Who nails it because
So completely.
he's doing, by his own admission, an impression of Clint Eastwood.
No, Clint Eastwood, that's right.
Like his whole his demeanor, his way of talking.
What would Clint do?
He's like, I'm just doing Clint Eastwood. And that's how you get, I'm gonna ask you. I mean, it's all like these great lines.
Where's the president?
Delivered like Clint Eastwood. I mean, that's a great approach.
But he never overdoes it. He never
Not at
steps
all.
over the line.
And think about this. How far removed is Escape from New York from the Dirty Harry films upon which
Not
he
that
would have
far.
been basing it? That would have been
They were still being made. They were
would have
being
been a
made after
right.
Escape from New York
Because
came out.
well, I think Sudden Impact is 83.
Yeah.
So yeah. I
And
mean,
The Rookie, which is not officially
that
still
that
it's a
came out
Dirty
in
Harry
89?
movie.
Right, but even still, right.
Yeah, they were
that's
still
what I'm
coming out with
thinking
Dirty Harrys long after this film had come out.
So he was doing a contemporary part that was getting that famous where you were just like, wow, that's
But
that's
never
really
stepping. Oh, even though if you read some of the contemporary reviews, he's just doing Clinton. Well, okay,
So
who
what?
cares?
So that's a
So what?
pretty goddamn good person to do, wouldn't you say?
And of course, all the supporting cast. You have Harry
Dean Stanton, Adrian Barbeau, you've got Ernest Borgnine, you've got Lee Van Cleef, you've got Charles Cyphers is in it. Charles Cyphers
And,
is in it.
the Duke.
The Duke. Oh shit! Help me. He was on South Park. Oh my god, I can't.
Chef.
Chef on South Park. Shit, man. Isaac Hayes.
Isaac Hayes.
Oh yes, Isaac
We
Hayes.
have been.
man.
This is our second show.
Tom Atkins is in it.
Tom Atkins.
Yeah.
It's
Oh
got
my
just
God.
a fantastic
Yeah.
cast. It's maybe.
I mean, great character
It's John
actors.
Carpenter's second greatest score because Halloween's got to be the first.
Yeah,
but it
it's
is an
a great
amazing score with Alan Howarth or
And
Howarth.
it seems like he can really do ensemble casts.
And one of the things that
Because, I mean, the thing is an ensemble
that
cast.
works so well for it, other than the fact that it's so over the top and the casting is so good and all this, is that they shoot the film in the middle of summer in St. Louis. Is actually where they shot, oddly enough.
What are the odds?
And St. Louis had just had a series of fires. I don't know if there were riots or it was just fire had burned out a big section of the downtown. So somehow they got St. Louis to stand in
Permission.
for New York City, and it works
You don't
out
know.
perfectly. It's absolutely brilliant use of filmmaking. It really is him at the top of his game. I don't want to say as great as the thing is, but he has all the help from professional, universal
He has a lot more
production
money.
value.
Right. He's got a lot more. I mean, the actors, I'm not going to say that the actors are that much better.
No, they're not any better.
They're not, but the production value in the thing is a step above. And look, let's not forget, dude.
No, he had when he made the thing, he had all of Universal's departments available to him, including Universal's backlot. There's no freaking backlot on
And he had Rob Bottin.
well, right, but I'm saying he did not have any studio.
No,
That's one of the things.
nothing like that.
He was just making this with independently raised.
Deborah Hill,
money.
dude, the producer, just come up with
There's
cash.
there's no studio
No,
behind
no
the
backing.
film. And so one of the things that helps the film is they're shooting all on location, almost entirely on location. And it was one of the hottest summers ever when they shot it. So everybody is sweaty and dirty.
Which lends to the
From
grit.
Kurt Russell all the way down to the lowest extra. They're all kind of suffering and it
And
just
it comes through. I mean,
it really does, and
it's
it
a
makes it
gritty
one of the
film.
greatest summertime watches of all
It's a
time.
very good summer
Like you
film,
watch
really
the thing, and
is.
I'm at the end of July when it's 100 degrees at night.
It's not going to work.
Well, no,
I mean, you said
it's-
what? You said watch the thing at that time.
No, watch Escape from New York, yeah.
yeah, you're totally like, wow, this is a great film.
Yeah,
man.
it's so dark and dirty and grim and gritty and
Dystopian.
believable.
But somehow-
even though,
somehow fun.
The gag is so far out there. I mean,
It's ridiculous.
It's a ridiculous
It's a
concept.
ridiculous story, but you are totally buying it. You're like, yep, that sounds reasonable.
It shows
Please
you
continue with your
that
ridiculous story.
The silliness of the story doesn't matter if you bring 100% belief in it.
And you believe in it. And you have
of course you
everyone
have-
else believes in it.
And you have the great director of photography, Dean Cundy, at the top
I was
of
gonna
his
say
game.
you still had Dean Cundy. I mean, that's such a big advantage.
Dean Cundy would eventually go on to be the president of the ASC.
Right, he's just
an amazing.
he's that good. He shot Jurassic
Yeah, he shot
Park.
Jurassic
I mean,
Park.
come on.
Probably pretty good.
Undoubtedly Hall of Fame.
So we had a
material.
lot of people who would eventually become A-list guys in Hollywood,
Don't forget.
but they weren't then.
Don't forget. James Cameron.
James Cameron did all the
was
special effects
he was
for
a
it. So
map
whenever
painter,
when
map
you
designer,
watch
James Cameron.
Escape from New York, he built all the models of New York.
Yeah.
And then one of the genius things he did, because they did not have computer technology at the time.
Yeah.
And so, but there's all these scenes where Pliskin's planes going over and helicopters go over where you're
The grid
seeing
view,
where you're
yeah.
seeing grid view. And so what Jim Cameron did is he put glow in the dark tape on all of the models that he built,
so
in a grid
amazing.
pattern.
It so
and just lit it with
works.
UV light, and
It so works.
It
dude.
works.
You just believe every second of that. You're like, yep, that seems reasonable to me.
And so when you're watching that movie when it comes out in the early '80s, you're blown away because not
effects are
only
incredible.
is the performance great and the idea so cool and the Mac 10 the first time other than the 3 Days of the Condor. It's really when you get to see
Laying
the
out
Mac 10.
Macs, really go to work.
Just go to work.
Very featured
and how
Mac 10.
sweet that gun is.
Bro, that's awesome. Like, yeah, man.
Yeah,
Right.
all of that.
Totally laying
But
waste.
also the effects were tip-top state of the art.
Especially the bits with him in the glider, where all you really have is his
Just a red
face
light,
slightly
green
lit
light,
by a
yeah.
red light, and you're like, "Yep, he's on a glider. I can totally buy that." Because
I'm playing with myself. I'm going in.
Going in, right? I mean, all that business, right? Yeah, I can't count on you for help. No, good. Jesus, it's such
And
a
it's
good
just,
movie.
there's so many different ways that movie could have been awful.
Yeah, and
Well,
one
let's put
thing
it this way.
you
How many
didn't
other
have
movies
Kurt
were-
Russell. I mean, if you didn't have Kurt Russell, Tom Selleck.
I think Isaac Hayes
Tom
had
Selleck
better-
as St. Pliskin. No, is that going to work?
And that's what's amazing, really, is despite all those other great things, the score, the photography, the supporting cast, the cool script, the
Just that-
sweet props, it's Pliskin. It's his character
carries it.
perfectly realized
By
by
Kurt Russell.
by a great actor at the perfect age for it, with a director who
that-
they have this bizarre, and of course they're best friends in real life now.
Right.
This bizarre, not bizarre, but
Chemistry, just that.
yeah, the synergy,
it
the two
works, man.
yeah.
It just
in that
it
character
works.
And what's funny is it's never been replicated at all. Not even by Russell and Carpenter. Escape from New York or Escape from LA is a disaster. Of a
yeah,
film.
it's just.
It's never really been
can excuse
duplicated though by anybody else. Not by me, not by Robert Rodriguez, not by Jim Cameron,
Nobody's ever
not by
imitated it.
anybody who's ever. No, plenty of people have imitated, including them.
But what I'm
no
saying
one's
is that
ever equaled it. No
It
one's,
stands alone.
It does.
There's nothing. It's like there's no other. This movie is exactly and it's just as good. Like no. It stands alone. It's in this sort of island of the perfect storm of gritty sci-fi dystopia. Perfect time to come out, as you say. Great soundtrack and just.
But the character is
Kurt Russell.
So there's
that
a point,
that
there's-
character makes the whole film.
because
He just
arguably it is the greatest anti-hero film ever made.
did it create the anti-hero?
Well, you could argue that Brando in Rebel Without a Cause or whatever.
It's not Brando. That's
the biker
the
movie.
Wild Ones.
They're the Wild Ones.
Yeah.
What are you rebelling against? What do you got?
What do you got?
I mean,
Right.
that
You
is a
could-
rebel movie, but it's not an anti-hero movie.
No, you
the
don't think he's a
anti-war
hero.
films aren't anti-hero. And there's a scene in the film where he walks by a woman about to be raped, and he goes.
He just
He keeps on
I'm
walking.
on mission here. I don't have time to
I
stop that.
I gotta go do shit. And yet at the end,
Maggie, come on.
yeah, come with me.
Right.
He tries to save.
He's dead.
He tries to save
Tries to
the
save
woman
Maggie.
at the end, and
Doesn't quite work out.
And yet, then after that, he tears up this tape that might stop World War III.
Right.
It's just, well, World War III.
But you're gonna kill me now, Snake. I'm too tired.
So, yeah, I mean, it's weird. It's the greatest, the purest sort of walking the tightrope of a hero, but he's an anti-hero, and it's all very hard to even define what that is. How you would define, how I would define it is Snake Plissken.
Right.
Kurt Russell, Snake
I opened the
Plissken.
dictionary. Oh, look, it's Snake Plissken.
It's a picture of Kurt Russell here.
Right there, guys.
And it's funny how few films actually can get that. And I was talking a little bit about The Expanse and how there's a character in that, Amos, who is a little bit of an anti-hero, like a character that he does bad things a lot of times, but you're always cheering him when he does it.
Great.
They thought you did that horrible thing.
Wow, he's badass.
And it's really tough
badass.
it's tough to write. It's tough to write a character that's cool. This is kind of like it's hard to write comedy. You know, like either you're funny or you're not. I mean, you can write a lot of jokes, but
and then there's a weird sort of there's a weird component in the film of sort of a kind of, and you might find this interesting. For people who've played role-playing games, there's a kind of Gamma World feel to it, because you go from him having a MAC-10 to everybody having crossbows and clubs, right? And so it kind of runs that gamut between like that separating wall between primitive and
but
high-tech.
he's able to do it. He has this huge fight with
Ox, right?
Slag.
What his name? I can't
Ox
remember.
Baker, I think is his
But he's
real
the
name.
actual wrestler, right?
Who's going wild on him in real life in that scene.
Right, I heard about that. Where he was
Where
actually like,
Russell had to hit him in the balls to calm him
hey,
down.
man, knock that shit out.
But
man.
he's heroic in that this character is obviously more evil than Snake Plissken. It's just trying to murder him for no reason at all,
Just
other than
because
to entertain the crowd.
What's today? It's Wednesday.
And he can handle that, but at the same time, would shoot a guy maybe in cold blood if it
got his
him.
way. I mean, he
Right.
is working with that time element. What'd you do to me, asshole? I mean, just with the
Well, yeah, with the
size of a head
Plutoxin
of a
7
pig.
loss. Yeah.
just enough to burst both your arteries, right? I mean, it's
Take him out now.
with X-rays.
It's just
bitch.
yeah. How many times has that gimmick been used?
Yeah, right. That they pull that gag a lot, where it put that. And what a great idea! I mean, that just put a time element. Like you better hit the gas.
It's
fella.
funny how and when you look about kind of how can you make movies more interesting? It's rare actually how few times movies do put that kind of a time element on it.
Where it's very effective. Really need some movies really need that narrative push, and there's no more
Like Saving
effective
Private Ryan has a little bit of
There's
that.
a
Like,
little
we
bit
gotta
of
go
that
get this guy
in
now before he dies.
right before he dies. I mean, you need that time to push the
But
narrative.
no
because you have to feel
movies
that
like
pressure.
Fantastic Voyage has a little bit of
A little bit of that because he's gonna die.
Even
of
a little bit of The
heart
Thing.
attack.
There's a storm hitting us for 48 hours.
we
We're
gotta
going to
figure
find
out
out
the thing.
who's
But
who.
yeah,
But
you
no
have that time
movie
element.
maybe is better at using the gag of a time than Escape from New York. DOA is a film
actually wearing a watch, and holding
the
it
countdown
down. You're
clock,
watching
yeah.
it go. You're like, oh shit.
and so that affects everything he does. So everything he does is tinged by self-survival, and of course, he'll do anything to survive.
And we're forgetting Donald Pleasance as the president.
The Duke!
Hey, number one.
Hey, number one.
Oh my god, dude.
Donald Pleasance.
And whoever that fucking weirdo dude is who plays the henchman to fucking right, that guy. If you're not in the air in 30
That's a very
seconds, he
normal
dies.
name, actually. It's
Yeah, like Bob Smith.
yeah, it is something like that. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I mean, just everyone is perfectly cast in these. I'm the president. I knew I was president when I woke up with this song.
It's just like
Hail to the chief.
He goes, how the president's dead. Somebody's had him for dinner.
22 hours, Pliskin.
Trying to crawl out, burn you off the wall. Try to fly it, I'll shoot you down.
And it is funny though, how what other movie really touches that?
No. I cannot think of one.
All of the Doom movies try to get it. Utterly fail. The Halo movies. Fail. So, really about the closest you get is Michael Biehn in Aliens. I mean, if you want to
yeah,
be, where he's kind of an
he's
anti-hero,
very similar, but he's just
But he's
he's more of,
he's the man.
'cause
He's a
got-
Marine.
But he's got a Gary Cooper thing going on where he's just quiet hero.
But he's not.
Like,
He's not an anti-hero.
yeah, he's not. He's a hero, right? He's just a quiet hero. He's just sort of.
What other
doing his
anti-hero
job.
films work at all?
Shit, the only other
A little bit of Clint Eastwood and Firefox.
The only other anti-hero I can think of, and this is probably going a long shot, might be fucking Popeye Doyle.
Popeye Doyle.
From because
French Connection,
Hackman's
too.
French Connection, Popeye Doyle is because
He's the bad cop.
He's a bad cop, but you want him to succeed.
Well, then you can
know,
kind of go Nick Cage and
Bad Lieutenant.
Bad Lieutenant too.
Yeah, and
I tell him
you
Bad
do end
Lieutenant.
up kind of. You want him to succeed, but yeah, he's a total piece of shit. But I mean, but that's different. Snake Plissken's not a piece of shit.
Well, he's also not a
just-
cop or a soldier.
No, he's
Although he
he's
was a soldier, but
he
he's
was
not
a soldier,
now.
right?
And we were talking about that before the show.
Special
how,
pursuit of Black
unlike
Flag.
in Escape from L.A., and it's one of the reasons why Escape from L.A. does not work. One of the many reasons
Jesus.
is in Escape from L.A., he's arrested for like political crimes or something. In Escape from New York, he's arrested because he just robbed a bank.
Yeah, he did it.
There was nothing heroic or
You're
glo-
guilty.
He wasn't doing it for some cause. No, he was doing it for
He was
cold
for
hard
money,
cash.
in
He
which
robbed a
people
bank.
got killed.
In which
And,
people got killed.
you know,
At least it implies that they got
with
killed.
Brain. Well, Brain wasn't involved in that one.
Yeah, he was.
Because Brain was Brain. Oh, but how
He was part of the crew.
was he part of that
could've
crew?
been.
Because
he was a part of another heist.
It was another heist,
Right.
right? I mean, you, me, and Fresno Bob. You know
what they did to
Bob, right?
Yeah. So I mean, he was a criminal to be put in New York. At the start of the movie, he's been
It's
a
legit.
criminal.
Yeah,
he's been
it's
a criminal
not
for a
no
while.
justice. You're
Right, I mean,
him.
essentially, kind of a half-ass supervillain, and yet he is the hero of this film in part because the idea of throwing all these people into a city and then you starve to death or you fight to death, whatever
Right.
it is, inherently inhumane.
And now you're on their side. You want them to win.
The
you want
idea
them
of
to get through this.
World
you know?
War III is inherently evil,
Undesirable.
undesirable. Right. So even though he's a bad guy in many
go
ways,
ahead.
the evil around him is so much greater.
That he stands out as a kind of
Right, and so
I'm just trying to live here. Like this was not my calling.
So
here.
again, it's kind of like Michael Biehn in Terminator. This idea of a guy who's basically good at heart, who has been driven by society to do bad things or by his
But
circumstances.
in Terminator, though, he's willing. He is a willing participant. In Terminator, Kyle Reese is a volunteer. He said, "I will go because I want to fuck your mom."
Although they don't show it, they do imply that Kyle Reese would absolutely kill people if it would save her.
yeah, oh yeah,
or, and
definitely.
or kill that Terminator.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, he'd kill
He's got
hundreds
his
of
own
people.
sense of morality.
They
and
don't
he knows.
show it, though, the
No,
way that they
he's
do.
a soldier. He's like, I'm going back for her, and he
And will
much
do
as
anything
says
to
so.
save her.
Right. So
So I mean, there is element. What other movie? That's what I'm saying. I mean, you have to.
I can't think
and
of
those are also
another-
80s films. I mean,
yeah, totally. Nothing from the '90s that does that.
yeah,
I mean, what Dredd?
Yeah,
But
Dredd,
even with
man.
Dredd is a cop.
Dredd's a cop, and
Dredd's a
really,
cop. So he's
again,
already got a built-in motivation.
up against really, really evil.
Super evil people. I mean, he is heavy-handed authoritarian justice among people you kind of want heavy-handed authoritarian justice to hit.
Yeah, Carl Urban as Dredd is probably maybe the second. I mean, it's
I mean that gets close.
Giska does, and then the movie is super sweet and has great music,
Oh,
great
yeah,
casting,
but
dystopian.
he's a
but
cop.
He's not an anti-hero.
Right,
He's
he's
just
a
pretty much a
cop.
hero.
He's a hero.
not-
He's very much. What do you want to say? Like Dirty Harry is not necessarily an
anti-hero.
anti-hero.
He's just a hero.
He's a different kind of
Speaking
hero.
of whale shit,
Right. What do you say? He fucking you know, me and my dog shit, pal. A lot of things can happen to dog shit. Can dry up and blow away. Get scooped up in a scoop.
get squashed.
Stepped on and squashed. Do yourself a favor and watch where the dog shits.
I mean, so those are tough guys. There's lots.
That's
there's
a
lots
tough
of-
guy, not an anti-hero.
And the interesting thing maybe about Kurt Russell in particular is, as great as an actor as John Wayne was, could he have played Snake Plissken or any kind of variety of him? No.
No,
Could
but-
Gary Cooper. No.
Oddly enough, it was John Wayne that he was channeling for Big Trouble in Little China.
Little China.
Right, when Russell did Big Number, he channeled Clint Eastwood for Escape from New York, turned right around
What about,
and channeled John Wayne for Big Trouble
What
in Little
about
China.
Shaft? What about some of the blaxploitation films? Well,
Nah,
he's a cop
but
too, though.
He's a
right?
cop.
Shaft's a
That's what I'm
cop.
saying.
Yeah.
He's the John Shaft, the detective. I mean, he just
Is there?
he's still a cop.
What about Bruce Lee in Enter the Dragon? He's working for the cops.
He's working for the cops, and again, it's voluntary.
He's just a hero, though, right?
Yeah,
He's not-
because Snake Plissken is not voluntary, but heroicism comes out of him because of the situation he's
Well, if
put
you
in.
analyze that scene again, where he walks by the woman about to be raped, almost any of these other characters we name would do something other than just smirk or walk by.
Because at that point, it's time to go. Like he thinks he's about to get the president. He thinks he's about to get the fuck out of here. So why stop and look at that? I'm about to find the president who's in this room over here. I got the button.
yeah, but he could boom, boom, boom. He could shoot them all dead. Nope. He doesn't do
Not
it.
my problem, man.
What about in Goodfellas? It's really the closest thing I can get to it is Ray Liotta and De Niro as outside the law kind of guys we like, even though they're doing bad things. But of course, they don't ever do anything
Good.
heroic.
Yeah, they're not heroic.
And if they do, it's only to benefit
And they are very self-serving.
themselves in
Right.
situations they have voluntarily
No
put themselves in.
anti-hero.
Yeah, so they're not really heroic. They're anti-law.
Right. I mean, you might be able to make an argument.
I'm just trying to think of any movie
might
that
be
comes
able
close
to make
to
an
it.
argument for Al Pacino's Scarface.
Mm-hmm.
You could make an argument for that.
But again, he's putting himself into those situations.
He is the only heroic portion of it is his refusal to murder the one guy and his children. Like that's what ultimately does him in is his refusal to participate in the murder of women and children. It's like all the other things he's happy to do, but that element of morality stops him. And
What
says,
about Decker and Blade Runner?
No, Deckard and Blade
Again,
Runner.
a cop.
Right, he's a
Again,
cop, and
doing-
he's on a he feels bad about murdering these robots,
Even though
but he
they're not-
murders the robots. I mean, he doesn't feel that bad. I mean, he still does it. He shoots Zora in the back.
Is Roy
He's-
Batty? Is that character an anti-hero? Like actually, that's probably closer to Snake Plissken because he's forced to do it because of a time thing, right?
He's
Roy
closer.
Batty has to do what he does
Yeah.
because if he doesn't, not only him,
He dies.
but everyone else around him that he knows and loves is going to die.
It's almost the telling of the story from Hulk's perspective. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Because you follow Batty around initially because you think it's the bad guy. And it really isn't. He really isn't.
Well, he is bad. I mean, he is murdering
But
innocent
Deckard
people
is the bad guy.
from one point of view.
Yeah, Deckard's the bad guy.
He's not an
because-
anti-hero at all.
No, he is.
Maybe heroic, depending on your point of view, but he's not an anti-hero.
You're doing your job. I mean,
But
it's hard to say. But
yeah, and I guess
know you're-
Rutger Hauer
I
in
see
Split
you can
Second
make that
is a little bit of a kind of a Snake Plissken.
I could see
anti-hero.
that. Yeah, you might be able to play with that, but
But it's
still
weird you-
not quite Pliskin, right? It could
is-
be not quite.
So it is
Pliskin.
kind of a combination of perfect actor in this really well-defined role in this really highly specific situation.
well written and great from a sci-fi perspective.
I'm saying why it has not happened again or as well is because you have those three things going. You have a great performance
Yes.
in a unique character,
Yes.
and that character is put in a position from a society and in specifically a time limit placed on his life, and you get to see and because the film plays out over the course of an hour and a half.
It's very
of
efficient.
24 hours.
It's very efficient.
Yeah.
That helps it move along.
What
like
about
car trouble?
what about Khan in Wrath of Khan?
No, Khan.
Either one, either Cumberbatch or.
He's not an anti-hero.
Because again, he is doing what he is doing for his people.
Right, and but you see what I'm saying? He's not forced into it, right?
Isn't he?
He's not, but he doesn't.
He certainly is in the
doesn't-
remake.
He doesn't reluctantly take up his people's cause. And remember who he was before.
A murderous, genocidal.
Right. So, I mean, he's okay, Benito Mussolini.
Well, Snake
doing what he
Plissken-
does
but
on the
Snake
Italian
Plissken is
people's behalf.
Snake Plissken is doing bad things before the Escape from New York starts.
This is
I mean, he's
true.
put there because he robbed the bank.
This is true.
And you get the impression, I don't think they specifically say, but you do get the impression that someone is shot and killed in the bank robbery. I think in the extra scenes, you actually get, you do.
But when Khan engages Kirk
and Khan is one of the great characters in movie history.
No,
right?
I'm not going to argue that. What I'm saying is when Khan does what he does, Khan's motivation is revenge. And that's where it is. Pliskin's not out
just for his
revenge.
people?
No.
Well,
no, because of the conversation. Sir, we have Reliant. We have the ship and the means to go where we will.
So at that point, he switches whatever anti-heroic. Then he goes into Ahab
because he sacrifices his people for his vendetta. When he was free at that point, and no one could do a thing about it. He could have took the Reliant, and that was it.
Yeah, because when he gets Chekhov, he doesn't even know anything about Captain Kirk at all at that point. He's just trying to get his people off that road.
Yeah, and he does it. And then the conversation takes place. And that's pivotal where that's at.
Right, and it is part of why that character is so powerful, why that is such a good film, is because the villain is so good, is because when you can understand the villain, when the villain makes sense and is doing things and just not out of, like we did a serial killer episode, not just out of some kind of crazy sexual, I'm going to kill everything.
Right, but he has
when he's trying to do something that is in some ways noble.
A moral compass, like this is a right thing that I'm doing.
What about like the Ed Harris character in Enemy at the Gate as the Nazi sharpshooter, or Vasily, the Russian sharpshooter?
Any soldier. Doing his job. Soldier doing his job. I mean, it's hard to ascribe that to a soldier. I mean, isn't
it weird that Carpenter, who wrote that script in high school, I believe he wrote it in his first year of college. So he's like 18, 19 years old, comes up with that character and comes up with this situation to put that great character in that will eventually come out with the greatest anti-hero film of all time. And really, all these other things we're talking about are on the fringes. They're still
not quite. They don't get,
and including films that are direct sequels to it don't get it. I mean,
and let's be honest,
are we missing any? I mean, I
can't think of it. And dude, the name
Escape
from New York. That is a great name, dude. That is a great title.
And apparently there was an actual Snake Plissken. It was some like blowhard guy he knew in high school. It was like a football player or something.
That's fucked up. But just the idea, Escape from New York, that works so good. That's like, God, that is a great title. Jesus criminy, man. I mean, you and your stoned friends in New York were like, dude, Escape from New York. Like, bro, that's awesome. I'm like, yeah, that's a great title.
I mean, isn't it?
It's a great title, dude.
I'm trying to think if there... I mean, really,
we've done episodes on bad titles, right?
That's a good title.
Sorry, dude, that's a great title.
Well, one of the things really like good. I had for our movie Vampire-Land, its original title was Sixth Extinction. One of the reasons I didn't do it is apparently there's a couple other short films I call it, but like because the idea is all of mankind's wiped out, so that's an extinction level event, but it doesn't tell you anything about the movie.
Right.
Whereas Vampire-Land was at least about vampires.
Oh, there's a vampire. I know that because it's in the title.
Right.
Can't be too obscure.
In Escape from New York, what's the character trying to do?
Escape from New York.
It's weird how brilliant it all is from start to finish. The execution of the film, the casting of the film, the special effects, the music, the character. This very, as I think we've broke down, this very, very rare, very almost impossible to achieve anti-hero
nexus.
Like try the TV show Renegade. Highlander, is Highlander an anti-hero? Because he is slicing ahead. He is murdering people,
but he's murdering people who are trying to murder him.
It's
a competition,
and he would, I think, probably not murder people if he
had the choice.
If he had the choice, right?
Yeah, it doesn't count. So
but I mean, we're going to Highlander.
Right. You're looking for something like that. It's got to be somewhere. Nope.
What about Tyrion and Dragon Slayer?
He's not a hero at all.
And he's also a soldier.
Right.
He's kind of a hero because that dragon lays waste to the kingdom he works for. Right.
Well,
I mean, that dragon kills hundreds of people after the event.
It's his responsibility.
And he's a soldier.
So that's where that. But that was good though. Tyrion Dragon Slayer is good. But sorry, he's a
because
soldier, and it's already his
characters.
job.
I'm just.
I mean, just because he's an asshole doesn't make him an anti-hero.
What other great like sci-fi like Darth Vader is just he's just a villain.
Oh, he's just a villain. You could argue that Han Solo is an anti-hero. You could
very mild.
You could do that because of his. He's already a criminal. He had decided
only
at
in
the
the Empire's.
Right. He had decided at the end that he wasn't going to be a part of it, and it's only his redemption, coming back to help Luke Skywalker, that pushes him to be a hero.
Well, I was gonna say, what does he do that's anti anything other than where he leaves? I'm sorry, kid, but I got 20,000 credits that I have to pay off for this fat lizard thing.
And he
that's gonna
tries
kill
to
me.
convince Luke Skywalker to come with him. To come with us.
But
Right?
is that anti? Is that evil? Is that
It's not evil, but
Snake Plissken walks by a woman getting raped that he could stop from getting raped, and he does not stop her from getting raped. And that happens relatively early on in the film. And there's a series of other things that happens in that film.
And he's trying to get out at that point, so when you're forced to do a possible
when that
situation,
happens, he's got 23 hours left, bro, and he thinks he's about to walk
He
out.
thinks it's about to happen. Like, let's get the fuck out of here, man.
Which makes it even all the more evil, right? It's not like he has 20 seconds left
blind
and he walks by.
kind of way,
Yeah,
right?
he's
Because
like,
he beat the shit out of those guys trying to jump him, but
Yeah, but he does not.
Chief.
But he kills the guys later on in the module,
in the module, right?
but he doesn't. Han Solo doesn't have any kind of thing like that in Star Wars. The most you can point to is that the Empire doesn't want him smuggling, and that he's going to go pay off a gambling debt or whatever.
He's self-serving and
he's self-serving a little bit.
Concerned with himself.
Well, let's put it this way:
but
would Snake Plissken's character come back to save Luke Skywalker in Star Wars: A New Hope? No fucking way, man. I don't think so.
Probably not.
Not at the start of Escape from New York. And maybe that's a little bit of a cool thing is that you do see Plissken's character evolve a little bit. Where like the evil is so bad around him. Yeah, the Maggie scene makes him a round character.
He's dead.
He's like, right. Pliskin at the start of that film, no way in hell throws her that 6-shooter. Right?
But he does it at the end. Because of the adventure they go through. And so that's what it was. So very good.
I mean, it's such a great film, both in terms of just raw popcorn chomping entertainment, in terms of its effect on movies and video games ever since, and that we can talk about it in kind of great depth and maybe sillily so, but it's never been equaled, man.
No.
It has never been equaled by a studio or an independent film company.
Just that combination of elements, you can't beat it.
What about Dutch in Predator?
No.
He doesn't do anything evil, right?
Soldier.
Soldier. He's a mercenary.
He's
not acting under color of law.
Assassins.
Right. Well, but
rescue team.
Yeah. Okay.
Rescue team. But no, it doesn't count.
Rambo. First Blood. That's maybe the closest you get. Because he's not wanting it, and they put him in this situation.
He's not a soldier
and
anymore.
But he's an ex-soldier. He is arguably breaking the law when he is loitering or whatever.
However, and he is strongly put upon by the locals.
And there is a time element.
You could. That's probably the strongest one you could make, honestly. But
he's so put upon so fast. Would John Rambo in the first scene walk by a woman getting raped and do nothing? No. And maybe that's it's weird how that one bit, almost a toss away thing,
is still a revealing of the character.
Very, very revealing, and something. And I'm sorry to say this, having the balls to do that as written in whenever he wrote it, 79 or 8. And the lack of balls to have something like that when they would redo it in the 90s, or any other Hollywood studio trying to do a movie like this. Like Neo, Neo is he doesn't do anything bad.
Anti-hero.
I'm trying to think even of the Ultraviolet. It's funny. There really is no other movie
that does
like
that.
Escape from New York.
And that's why it lives in the pantheon.
And that is why it is one of the greatest movies of all time, one of them, and easily the greatest independent film to my mind. I mean, as great as Halloween is, as great as Belle et la Bête, you know, I mean, there are some great, beautiful films that have been made by independent filmmakers. 400 Blows.
Escape from New York.
Escape from New York just dances on all of them. Man. All right, so anyway, this is our very long-winded tribute to a movie that means a lot to us and to a lot of other people. And maybe we gave you something to think about when...
And if you haven't seen it, dude, see it.
See it on the biggest screen you can. Get a projector. Yeah. Set up a movie screen this summer.
Enjoy it.
If it's summer when you're watching this, go outside and watch this outside.
Escape from New York.
Escape from New York, one of the greatest movies of all time. Like,
share, subscribe.
Love each other, and until next time.
Snake Plissken.
All right, Snake.
I heard of you.
Heard you were dead.
Hey, you don't want to go down there, Snake.
Be sure to visit EvilGeniusEntertainment.com for exclusive content, swag, casting call news, and much, much more.